Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us all today. When I say us, well, I'm talking about Milan Yurkovich there. Hey, Milan.
Hey, how are you, Steve? Good to be with you. I like that very festive-looking sweater you have on.
Thank you. I do try to go festive this time of the year. And then also, Becky Brown is with us today. Becky, how are you today? Well, we can't hear Becky yet.
I'm doing well, but I don't have a festive. Hear me?
Oh, yes, now we can. Hi.
Okay. Patience is a virtue, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a festive sweater. Mine's more like a forest sweater, like with an animal print, but that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you for describing that.
Well, it's
and
better.
Then,
it's better than brown. I mean, just a brown
Okay.
sweater.
Yeah. And then finally, we're going to start off the program today. Usually we just drag him in during the middle or at the end, but it's Larry Sonnenberg.
You could drag me in the middle also, but
yeah,
we have an announcement to make. We have a matching gift, and it's a little different than the matching gifts we've had in the past. This donor wants to encourage folks to sign up for Club New Life. So what he's going to do for us is, if you sign up for Club New Life between now and year end, whatever amount you give, say you give $30 a month, that's what you sign up for. Next year, at $30 a month, you will have given $360. He'll match that today. So if you give $100 a month, it'll be $1,200, and he'll give that.
So you give your first month, but he matches it as if you had already
given
given the whole year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So,
Thank you to him.
Yeah.
And his wife. I'm assuming he's still married.
Yes, he is.
Good. That's so good.
He's a good friend and loves this ministry. So, folks, it's really be important. It helps us so much. And he said he'll do it up to $35,000, but we have another donor that said if it goes over that, I'll match that. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So here's the match thing. It really is a way that somebody says, I want to do this, and I want to try to inspire other people to come alongside me. That's really what
Bingo.
it's all about. And, they would probably give this money without anybody matching it, but they want to inspire somebody. And, sometimes we get so tickled with things that happen here in the studio. If you're watching on Facebook, you see and hear Larry and Milan. Yeah, they're losing it.
No, they're not. Larry
Becky,
and
they're
Milan.
not. Okay.
They are
Becky
not.
and I.
It's Laurel
are
and
still
Hardy.
here.
That's okay.
Anyway, but
We're the
whole
serious ones, Steve.
Yeah, but the whole
Becky.
thing is this: we need your support, and so much of what happens here at year end determines the kind of year we have for the following year. This is the giving time, and
it makes such a difference in so many people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Club New Life
That's
is
it.
that constant, consistent help. And there's a lot of people that are going to have a better Christmas this year because of the faithfulness of our supporters and God's faithfulness, obviously, as well.
yeah. I didn't hear a sermon on this weekend, but I did hear somebody mention this. The concept of obey now, knowing that understanding will come later.
Oh, I love that.
Versus we have to understand something so that we feel good about it. And I think giving is one of those things that we're told to. Even Jesus, a lot of people say tithing is an Old Testament concept. Jesus said this. I can show you the verse. Of course you should tithe. We just need to do it. And then we'll come to understand the blessing that he says. In Malachi, the only place that God says, test me on this, if I don't just out-bless your life more than you ever thought when you give. That's what happens. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
We We have been estranged off and on for 10 years or more, and he has a lot of grievances and anger and bitterness and hatred toward me.
We've been having little disagreements here and there about grandmom's input.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Fearless Parenting, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. It's an online workshop we're holding on Saturday, January 29th. Jim Burns, longtime friend and colleague, he's president of Homework, and he's going to join me.
You invested 2 decades of your life with your children, and you've got to figure out, how do you reparent and reinvent the relationship? It's not easy, but it's possible, and it can be better than ever.
With insightful teaching and the guidance of a credentialed New Life counselor, this one-day online workshop will provide practical advice and hopeful encouragement for navigating the parent-adult-child relationship. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us here today. Mylon Yurkovich, Becky Brown, Steve Arterburn. Hope and pray that this is going to be a great Christmas for you. By the way, we were talking about giving. I'll just mention this. A lot of folks gave over this past year, and a lot of people are having the Christmas that they thought maybe would never happen again because the family is still together because somebody did something. They came, went to a workshop, read something, decided that they were going to change. And I just absolutely love that. Let's go to, how about we go to Marie, Grapevine, Texas. Sirius XM is where she listens. That's on channel 131 Sirius XM at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Hi there. How are you today?
I'm fine. Good afternoon to you all. I'm so thankful to be the first caller.
Well, we are
I'm
too.
A Club New Life
Yay.
I'm a Club New Life member. I'm a longtime listener back in the Menard Meyer days.
Ah,
so
yes.
Here's my question.
Okay.
It is general in that I just want to know how this relates to women in general. But you often talk about every man's battle. My question is, what is every woman's battle? And not necessarily from the a sexual integrity perspective, but just generally speaking, is there something that your team has seen as a common thread that challenges women generally?
Let me throw out what I've been saying to folks for about 20 years and see what Mylon and Becky have to say about this. When everybody has different struggles and all, and of course when it says every man's battle, we're talking about lust and pornography, and essentially it's saying almost every guy struggles here. Because they met a guy in Idaho who had not struggled with pornography and lust, but he's the only one so far. But anyway, the point is, it's the most common thing. About 60% of the guys are looking at pornography right now who go to church. So it's prevalent. So when you ask this question, I want to answer it in what do I think hangs up most women or causes the most difficulty or maybe the most separation in marriage. And I have not ever gone over this with Becky and Mylon, and they may totally disagree, and that is great because we'll get some different perspectives. But I say a simple thing: comparison. And here's what I'm talking about: comparing your life to the expectation of what you thought it was going to be, comparing everything about you to someone else. Now, this comparison thing has really heated up with Instagram because they've just looked at some studies and verified that it's really, really messing up young women, teenage girls, because they see what other people are posting on Instagram, and that's not their life. It's not even close. And, of course, what's being posted is really not reality. But to compare your spouse or your boyfriend to other people, compare your life to something else, I just think so much damage can be done by always comparing reality to something else versus moving toward accepting what I have, grieving what I don't have, and embracing what I have before me. But let's go to the female on the panel here, Becky, and then we'll hear from Mila.
You know, my first thought is, Marie, I'm real curious about why you're asking this, but I think further, like even deeper than just the comparison, is the identity. I think a lot of women, their battle is really knowing who they are. They carry a lot of messages from the culture. They carry a lot of messages from their family of origin. And we believe lies that are not truths, but we live as though they are true. And because we believe them, we don't interrupt that thought process until someone says, do you really think that you're the worst person in the office? I mean, you know, because women will take on an identity that is not true about them. And so I think that's like the base that starts into that comparison, because then when you start to compare, because you don't know who you are, you believe that you are less than.
And
but I'm curious, Marie, why? Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I just want to say, and when you think about identity, sometimes a woman is most vulnerable when somebody says things and does things that make her feel more like who she wants to be or the identity she wants to live into than maybe someone else, the person she's married to. And it is a great point of vulnerability. I'm glad you brought that up. Really good. But you wanted to know why the question was asked.
Well, as I say, I'm a long-time listener, and I tend to think things through a lot and be pensive. But I just have wondered in hearing, a lot of the emphasis on every man's battle about a month ago. It just popped in my head. I wonder what every woman's battle is. What do we as women generally seem to struggle with from you all's perspective? Because I listen a lot and I take so much wisdom from what you guys, your whole process of how you balance out God's word with the clinical side. And I really respect you all for that. And that's why I've listened for so long. But that question just popped into my head. What can I say? It's not that I don't have life struggles. I've already, I've called and been in contact with New Life and got some ongoing prayers for my situations. But that particular question just popped in my head because I thought, what do we as women generally tend to struggle with?
I think it's such a great question. I'm glad that you called out of, general interest rather than something you struggle with. Let's hear from you, Mila. What do you think would be a good answer for her?
Well, Marie, it's a brilliant question, actually, and I'm amazed at your philosophical meanderings. I love that you would contemplate this question. I'm going to say something different, and nobody's going to they're going to be perhaps shocked at what I say, but that's not a surprise.
Well, we've been shocked before.
And I'm going to say something that nobody's expecting. I'm going to talk about hormones. Every man's battle is all about hormones. It's about testosterone and learning to manage this powerful hormone inside of me, to then take my mind and control my mind to fit and conform to God's word. And then I think one of the struggles that women have, and I see this from a history of counseling couples, is also about hormones, that when they have children, the nurturance of that child is what their hormonal system is all about, the building of a nurturing of that child. And as they nurture that child and then their children, one of the shortcomings of that is they can forget that they're married. Now, what that means is their focus becomes so oriented toward their children, their identity, what Becky talked about, and Steve, their identity is in all of a sudden from wife to mothering. And their mothering instinct can be so powerful, and I see this so many times. They just forget, and their child or their husband becomes an additional child to manage or care for. Now, I'm just talking about the people that come into my office, okay? But the spouse becomes an afterthought because the children take priority. And so what we're looking for is a balance of that, learning to balance the nurturance and the love for the kids, and also maintaining a serious bond and connection with the marriage.
Mylan, just thinking too, if
that's my reflection.
Yeah, but when the man, if he isn't really mature, if he's still a child or acting like a child in the marriage, it's going to be a huge crisis for him. Whereas, someone that is the adult male might sense this and be able to sit down and say, honey, I sense we've got a problem here. But the child husband is just going to react.
Well, yeah, and Steve, in all fairness, there are child wives and there are child husbands.
Yes.
I've seen, TV shows and with a group of females, and it's like junior high. They're junior hires. And I've seen a bunch of male men that are like junior high boys. And, so we have to acknowledge that that's true, Steve. But I think the focus is just to maintain a balance. And Marie, I see that a lot where women lose their bearings on this one. And then they become so bonded to their children that launching that child is a crisis. Learning to launch is a crisis because they don't want to let the child go because it's been their identity for 20 years. And I've had women sobbing in my office about that because they haven't, from the get-go, prepared to launch their child. For this cause, a man shall leave his father and mother, shall cleave to his wife, the two shall become one flesh. There is the breaking away from the family authority of origin. So it's just an observation on my part. It's just my opinion, but that and $1.75 will get you a tall Starbucks.
Okay. Marie, anything else you want to say here?
Well, I actually want to
Becky
add one
has
thing.
something she wants to say.
So, Marie, even though we talk to guys all the time about every man's battle, like what Mylan is just talking about, we are seeing an increasing number of women who are struggling with lust and pornography use.
Yep.
With the shutdown, there's a lot of isolation, and it is a real problem. But I do think that circles back to the sense of identity, who you are, who you were created to be, and your connection with the Creator. And I also think about people who I've worked with in clinical sessions where they become their diagnosis. They think their identity is in their diagnosis, and that's not accurate either.
Yeah.
We're first and foremost children of God with, and God's got a great plan. But some of us, we just need help. We all need help from time to time.
All right. I'm so glad that you called. Anything else you want to say here, Marie, before we go?
Yes. Brilliant responses. And I would just say that I was advised not to tell you what I think is every women's battle, but to let you all give your comments. But I will say this.
But I would like to hear it. We want to hear what you think.
Okay,
what do you think it is?
Here's mine. It's kind of a combination. As nurturers, women in general, as nurturers, I think one of the biggest things we struggle with is worry. We worry a lot about who we are not, what we don't have. We worry about our kids. We worry about our grandkids. And it can get to exponential worry where we just kind of let it go wild. But for me, it has been like a learning process at every stage. I have grandchildren now, but at every stage it's a learning process of, like what Mylan said, letting go and allowing the kids to go because they're eventually going to leave, whether they get married or not. They're eventually going to leave in a healthy setting. But worry is the big one, and I watched my mother do that. She did it to perfection. I don't want to do that. And but it's a lifelong journey, and I just trust God all the way.
Well, I'm glad you called, and I think we've got some good perspectives on a lot of problems. I'll send you this book, Every Woman's Battle, and Shannon Etheridge, she puts her 2 cents or $2 in there. I also want to send you Emotional Freedom. It's a big help for a lot of people with worry. We have an Emotional Freedom workshop coming up with Chris Williams and myself. But I got to tell you, man and woman both benefit so much when they come to intimacy and marriage. You can sign up and get a big discount now because it's in February. And you don't have to have a horrible marriage to come. You can really, especially like in the first year of marriage, so many people, they're so grateful that they're dealing with this stuff rather than it get horrible, out of hand. So call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll tell you all about intimacy and marriage in February. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. 1-800-229-3000. When you give in December, we send you 100 Days to Freedom from Depression, our way of saying thanks.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., January 7th through the 9th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad you're with us today. 1-800-229-3000. We're in the studio for 2 hours, if you can believe that. And right now, I'm going to go to Melissa, Corona, California. Listens on Sirius XM satellite radio, also Channel 131. And Melissa, how are you today?
I am too blessed to be stressed.
Too blessed to be stressed. All right. Well, congratulations.
As I start to tell you my stuff.
Well, how can we help you today?
Thank you. It's a question in regards to my relationship with my mom. She is bipolar, and I just struggle with having a relationship with her. In fact, her last manic episode, she challenged me to look into her mental illness and what it means for her. My response, and I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind, I thought, well, what I've learned from your mental illness is to learn to live without you. So that is kind of where my heart is at. I don't have a desire to have a relationship with her, and I just kind of want to check my feelings in with you guys on that. I have been a listener for many years, and you guys have helped me navigate lots of dysfunction, and the holidays really seem to highlight dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, is she getting help? Is your mother getting treatment of any kind?
Yes, and unfortunately, she's over-medicated. She's not getting good help. Not getting good help, and this has been years. She's been overly medicated, addicted to prescription medication for at least 18 years. So it's been really bad. My relationship with her has been really bad. I've read How We Love, and I've learned that I'm a voider. So that's kind of what happens in my relationship with her.
Okay.
She'll get manic, and then I pull away. In August, my husband lost his mom. She called to support me, but she called over-medicated, and I pull away.
Yeah.
I don't
So
ever.
So what's the question for
ignore
us
her.
then? How do you want us to help you? What could we help you with?
Is it okay to be okay without her? I struggle with being okay with it. I feel very okay with it. I feel relieved not having Christmas with her because she's given me a list of reasons why she can't come. And I'm so okay with it. And I think I have boundaries. I understand boundaries.
Melissa, this is really complex because it's not just that she has bipolar disorder. She also has an addiction. And then there's the whole mom and daughter relationship, which can be very complicated in and of itself without all of these other things. And, to answer your question, yes, of course, you can make those decisions. You can create that boundary. I think the healing part of it is going to be where your work is. When we accept somebody where they are, that's the beginning of how we can begin to heal. You've already discovered that you can't do anything to make her any different. But I think what's happening is you're getting tangled into these routines that you guys have had in place probably for a lifetime. And there are a lot of people who have really challenging people in their lives and they're related to them. And they create good boundaries so that they can manage the relationship as opposed to all in, all out.
Yeah, and I would say this, given the state of your relationship with her, I think all of us can make our plans for the holidays and not necessarily be with somebody at all that makes it very difficult to enjoy the holidays or limit our time with a difficult person like that. There's no question about that you don't have to drag the family into and under the influence of somebody that's upsetting to you and potentially to them. But I would say this, I think the real freedom doesn't come from just lack of all contact, but trying to find how could this relationship exist and me not be sucked into the evil vortex of dysfunction every time so that I can kind of be there but not be the shamed daughter or whatever role she tries to put you in. Mylon, what are you thinking when you think about this kind of dynamic here? You deal with this all the time.
Melissa, thank you, Steve. Melissa, it's a great question. And I think Steve and Becky have already given you good answers. The answer practically is I have to manage and I choose when I will spend time with mom and how long. And so I plan and I look for windows where perhaps she is less manic, less depressed, less extreme. But I just want to encourage one very different thing based upon something she said. And this would be not characteristic for an avoider, okay? But she said, would you study my disorder and try to understand what it's like for me? And I'm paraphrasing your statement at the beginning of the call. Yeah. And what I would do sometime when she's in a more neutral or lucid state, I would ask her, so Mom, what is life like for you on your side of experiencing this diagnosis? Tell me what it's like for you. I want to understand. I want what? What'd you say?
He does in detail. I mean,
well,
he does in detail.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll be right back.
Yeah.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Mylan had a final phone message here for Melissa, who's on the phone. And then if you want to join us, we'll be here another hour and a half, 1-800-229-3000. Mylan, what is it you had for Melissa there?
Oftentimes people with a diagnosis that Melissa is describing regarding her mother will lack filters, and so they have no ability to regulate what is coming out. And so I get her point. She's always talking about it. Melissa said her mother is always giving her that information.
Yeah.
But instead of a left brain information, I would really focus with your mother. But Mom, what does it feel like when you're in this phase? Or what does it feel like when this happens? Or what do you feel like when I don't come or do what you asked me to do? Or I would ask her feelings. Stick with the emotional focus with your mom and let her share her feelings with you.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing, Steve?
Absolutely.
It's very important, Melissa, for you to get your own help, your own support, because even if you do the things like what we've talked about, there's still this unsettled, this grieving, the frustration, all of those kind of things that are inside of you, which if you don't address those, it will be really hard to set those boundaries, because you'll be in reactive mode all the time. It'll just, it's like, oh my gosh, now what? Now what has she done? What does she want from me? And in order for you to have some sense of calm, whether you stay in regular relationship with her or not, that part of you needs to be addressed and healed. So,
yeah.
And there are, Becky, there are support groups for people with families of mental illness. So,
yeah. And, we say support group, but a life recovery group is a great place. You work the steps over accepting what you cannot change, which is your mother. By the way, I'm going to send you this this book, Understanding and Loving a Person with Bipolar Disorder. I hope that's going to be a blessing to you.
Great
give you
idea,
some insight there. And speaking either of bipolar or blessing, Larry, you are a blessing and not bipolar. Those are the two B words there. But tell us about something that New Life did. You've got a testimony there, I know, of somebody that was blessed because people support this ministry.
Well, the Since we talked at the top of the hour about this match for Club New Life, encouraging people to join Club New Life.
Yeah.
Quickly, if you missed it, join Club New Life and your whole next year's giving will be matched today. So if you do that before the end of this year. But here's what a Club New Life member wrote to us. New Life gives me hope and encouragement in the daily ups and downs of life. It so helped me to know that understanding is available from Christian professionals, that recognize failure is redeemable, part of the sanctification process, that God loves us because of Jesus' perfect sacrifice in our place, not human attempted perfection that church culture has portrayed in the past. I thank the Lord for his grace poured out on me from New Life, and how he's used you all to give me hope that I can walk in freedom of God's unconditional love. Just a simple listen to the radio program, and somebody's life is different. There's so many ways people engage with us here at New Life, but so often the starting point is listening to this radio program, and it changes people.
But Larry, would you comment that we have to pay for our radio time as a Christian show?
Yes, we do. There are a few non-commercial stations that just pick us up and air us free. But overall, we are paying a lot of money every year, probably a little over $2 million in a year, to get this program out on the major stations around the country. And in order to keep that going, your help will be appreciated. But I hope that you'll give because, not just because of that, but because what this ministry does for people, that lives are changed, and you're giving to help people have a different life.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this. If you want to take $1,000 and have a chance for that to become $10,000, go to Las Vegas, because that's where that might happen. It's rare, but it does. But if you want $1,000 to become $100,000 worth of blessings that you just never knew.
Yeah.
Because it's a change of heart and spirit, and you see the world differently, then that's the reason to give. Not for financial return, which some ministers will promise you will happen, and it just isn't true. But the emotional, spiritual, and relational experience of giving is just unbelievable. So please, and again, in Malachi, God says, try me, test me on this, and just see if I won't turn right around and bless you beyond anything you've ever seen before. That's
Steve,
what God wants to do.
Steve, it's like that old MasterCard commercial where they tell you some blessing somebody had, and they say priceless.
Yeah.
You can't
and we're not encouraging debt through credit cards. We're no. But it is like that. It is priceless. You can't describe it.
Yeah.
There's no way to put it. And again, try it, do it, and just see what happens. And you'll look back over the year and you go, wow, that just might be God honoring that gift.
Do you know that decision to give, you don't have to make it over and over again if you just decide this is where I want to support. And we hear all the time from Club New Life members who say, I wish I could give more because of all you've done for us. But, just make that decision today. I want to give because I want to be part of something that is giving to other people.
Yeah.
You can help somebody have a better life.
Thank you, everybody who has been and is giving. God bless you for that.
All right. Let's go to Kay. She is in San Diego, California, and we're glad that she is. What a great city San Diego is. She also listens on Sirius XM. How are you, Kay? How can we help you today?
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay. I heard on your show many years ago the term intimacy anorexia. And that affected my marriage and I've been married for 24 years. We did go maybe 6 or 7 years ago to a counseling session for a weekend with the author of that book that when you originally brought it on air. And not much has changed. Let's go there.
But you haven't been to our intimacy. You haven't been to our intimacy weekend. Is that right?
Nope, I have not.
Okay, just the one that wrote Intimacy, Anorexia.
I think the book title is Sexual Anorexia. I think, but we get your point, Kay. Thanks for calling about that.
Yeah, what's the question for us then?
I can't live like this, and we need help. And I told my husband today that I'm losing myself. We can't do this anymore. It's destroying us. It's destroying the kids. We can't, anytime you're keeping a lie like that alive, you're not working for God. You're working for the enemy, and we can't do this anymore.
So your husband is the one who is sexually anorexic. Your husband is?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's helpful to know.
And what's the lie, Kay, that you feel is happening?
Well, it was after we got married. Everything just changed, and the closeness was dissipating. The conversation was gone. The growing together was gone. We were roommates. I mean, I felt like I was closer to him when I was his girlfriend, and then the more we got married, I became his roommate. And I've helped enable him to keep this lie alive for so long. And we did go. We went to this one weekend. We got the workbooks. We got the videos, the tapes, all the homework stuff you're supposed to do. And, I was supposed to, I guess, if this, then that, set the boundaries, hold them accountable, make the consequences tougher and tougher.
Well, let me ask you this, though, Kay. This kind of dynamic, I mean, it's so common in a man who is into pornography, who then gets married. And he thinks the marriage is going to fix the pornography, and it doesn't. It actually makes it worse. So what do you know about him and his history with pornography?
The only time I was aware that he was involved with pornography when I had our first child. I was pregnant with our first child and gave birth to her. And that's when somehow it all just came flooding in on the computer. And then he just said, okay, I'll never do it again. And that was it. That's what I understood about that.
And you think that he's been true to that or not true to that commitment?
Not true, because nothing's changed with me.
All right. We'll be back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Southern California February 11th to the 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn, and really glad you're with us here. We're talking about a common problem with Kay. It really is intimacy or sexual anorexia. And it has gone on so long. And as I said, Mylon, you can take it from here. It is just so common that this is what happens when somebody doesn't go get help for the pornography and the lust issue. It can destroy any potential for years.
Well, it destroys a relationship. And Kay, you're right. And the very last thing you said was, I can tell the problem hasn't been solved from my perspective or as I'm experiencing it. And really what needs to happen is you need to be in in couples therapy, in addition to Every Man's Battle and the marriage workshop that we do in February, where when a person is heavily addicted sexually to pornography or real life people with chats or prostitutes or whatever, they cannot respond to a real live Kay in San Diego because they need the excessive levels of stimulation, that multiple clicks on the pornography sites and all the different levels of stimulation mentally. And it distorts the brain into a place where something normal or regular is not sexually enticing, and that has to be relearned. So it's really it's a choice for him to say, I'm not going to do porn anymore. But then there's a choice to learn to relate to you, and that's going to involve several years, in my opinion, of couples work where you really learn to build an emotional bond, and you learn to talk and share, and he learns to love you again. Because he's not loving you in a lot of ways, including sexually. But I'd love to hear Becky on this.
Becky, what are you thinking?
I think Mylon's the expert, but I also think, Kay, that this is going to take a bold move on your part.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say step one would be, okay, since we didn't do the homework from the last time, here's step one. You're going to go to Every Man's Battle. That we're going to be in the neighborhood in February there in Southern California, so you could start there. And then follow up with the intimacy and marriage workshop, like Mylon said. The challenge that you have, Kay, is that you guys have been in this rhythm and this routine for so many years that it's going to be really hard for you to understand the depths of the just how complicated this is. Because you know it's not right. You know something is off, but where do you begin? And I'm kind of curious, how old is your oldest daughter?
She's 19.
Okay, so see, for 19 years, this has been, and there's a part of us that we have wishful thinking. Wouldn't it be great that, when he said that he was done and he would never do that again, that would be as simple as it is. We all want that simple solution.
Yeah,
but
we do.
In order to have a real, solid, growing, connected relationship, it's going to take a lot of work, especially when there's an old wound that has just scarred over for so many years.
Imagine your husband goes to the local wax museum and comes home and says, I ordered something at the gift shop there. It's going to be here in a couple of days. And a couple of days later, Marie Antoinette, the wax version of Marie Antoinette, is in your living room. And he's talking more to her and relating more to a wax museum figure than you. The counterfeit, the replica of what's real, a fake thing. But it doesn't talk back. It doesn't demand anything. It's the same thing. These men get hooked on the wax museum of sexual intimacy, pornography, and lust. And then they drag that home with them, and they get more bonded to that than they are the wife, and she becomes the enemy. And we love the proverb that says, when you wink at wrong, you cause trouble, but an open rebuke brings lasting change or peace. And sometimes you have to disturb the peace to bring peace. Like Becky said, it takes a bold move.
So, in that light, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, for people in your position, I recommend what I call a warm boundary.
Warm boundary.
Which is a legal separation. It's not a divorce, but it's saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. And it's warm because it's an invitation for him to come back. But he's going to have to do a lot of work to earn you back, and he has to prove it. And that will mean he will go to couples counseling with you, learn how to have communication and talk, and he will learn to detoxify from his addiction. He is addicted to sexual thought, and that's why Kay isn't appealing. And that's sad, because I'm sure you are in many, many ways. And he could learn that. But as Becky said, it's going to be a challenge. But I would say that is something you can do to get his attention.
Yeah.
And I want to add one more thing, because I think here's the thing that I think so many people, when you think about addiction with alcohol, drugs, you know what those conversations are like with somebody who's inebriated or under the influence.
Right.
Pornography and lust has the same effect on a brain.
That's right.
So, Kay, every time you're going to him and saying, I want to connect with you, I want us to be close like we were, he literally has no idea what you're talking about. And that's not an excuse for him. This is a reality of the pornified brain. And he needs deep work to have that healing. And I think that there is hope. There is always hope.
And Becky, don't you think that this could have been his entire life? He maybe came from a home where he never learned how to have a conversation with anybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would just make this suggestion to folks. If you think we're overreacting to this, Google the pornified brain or the pornified man. The last time I heard a researcher talk about this, they did a research project where they found some people that had never seen pornography, and they were willing to be part of this project. And in 6 weeks, it was stunning what that did to them. They were 50% less likely to want to have a daughter as a child, just to show you how it messes up your brain. Those who were for equal rights for women, it declined something like by 80% in only 6 weeks of exposure to pornography. And it just goes on and on. It's just horrific what it does. And we were talking before the program that one of the most popular singers now is Billie Eilish. She went on the Howard Stern show, which is just full of every kind of filth imaginable. And in his presence, she talked about how porn had destroyed her brain. And that's pretty bold move to be talking about that in front of Howard Stern, because he seems to be for everything. And I'll tell you, it's a killer. And we have a treatment for it. And so many of the people that support us are folks that have been through it, or their husband has been through it, and they want to help other people. And that's why they support us. So here's what I'm saying. You don't have to stay like this. And if you think you're the only one, I don't know of any other problem that is as prevalent in the church as this. Literally, if we believe Barna, who's one of the great researchers, 60% or so have looked at pornography last week, more than opened a Bible. Those are the men that are in the church. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Mylan. Thank you, Becky. Thanks to all of you. 1-800-229-3000 to join us for the next program.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.